Hello everyone, this is Nupur Sharma and today we will be starting a new chapter of class 6, Major Domains of the Earth. When we say domains we can say as division of the earth. Like our complete earth is divided into certain groups. We say land, water, air. Our earth has land, water and air, and therefore life exists in our planet Earth. Earth is also known as the blue planet. The reason being that it is known as the blue planet because most of the surface of the earth is covered with water, and that is why it is known as blue planet. We'll study more further about this. Basically in the chapter we are going to cover a few topics. Now if we talk about our planet Earth, the only planet that supports life. And why it is the only planet that supports life? Because of land, water and air present in our planet. The main three components of environment. Three main components of environment are meet, overlap and interact. Means all these things, land, water, air, including we human beings as well, plants and animals as well, we all are meeting, things are overlapping and interacting with each other in our planet Earth. The other things which we will be going to study in this chapter: lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere. Now when we say domains of Earth, so these are the major domains of the Earth. Three major domains, three major spheres of the Earth. That is lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere. And when these three things combine together, see, only a single thing can support life. In our Earth, only if there will be only land area, no water, no air, life will not exist. Only water will be there, again life will not exist. And if only air will be there, then again it won't be possible for the life to exist in Earth. So we need all three domains. The first sphere is lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere. And these three spheres combinedly make the fourth one, that is biosphere. Now biosphere is where the life exists. It supports life because it has all the three components of life. Talking about the lithosphere. What is lithosphere? Lithosphere is the complete land area on our planet Earth. Okay, that is lithosphere. It includes all the continents. The land area, all the continents which are there, it comes under the lithosphere. Talking about the other sphere, that is the hydrosphere. Hydrosphere is a sphere which consists of oceans, means all the water bodies, say it ocean, lakes, rivers, all the water bodies, they are in hydrosphere. So it comprises of water, basically the oceans, the vast water bodies we will talk about. Then comes the third sphere, that is atmosphere. Atmosphere comprises of air, and then combinedly it is forming another sphere, that is the biosphere, the domain of life. Means these three are the major domains, and when they combine together and form the fourth sphere, so this fourth sphere, biosphere, is the domain of life. Right. So this is all we are going to read, we are going to study in this chapter about all these three spheres, and when they combine together they form the biosphere. Now coming to lithosphere, it comprises of the rocks and the land. Means in the land area we have rocks also. So the lithosphere comprises of land and rocks. The soil present in our land, it consists of different nutrients which are important for all the living organism. For plants, let's say the plants grow on the sand, so there are proper nutrients present in the sands. That is why the land is supporting life for the plants. Now the main divisions of the earth's surface is the continents and the ocean. The main division is continents and the oceans. Now the highest mountain peak is Mount Everest. It is about 8,848 meters of height, and the greatest depth, I'll talk about it later also, the greatest depth is of 11,022 meters at Mariana Trench in Pacific Ocean. So when we'll read about these oceans, I'll tell you again about this Mariana Trench. It is at the deepest height, at the very depth. See, talking about the Mount Everest, if I talk about the Mount Everest, it is at a height of around 8,848 meters. And the Mariana Trench I am talking about, see, suppose this is the land and this is the sea, or we can say ocean. These both are the land area. Now if we'll see from above, so we can only see the land here and here, but in between we can only see water because there is ocean. But somewhere down this land is connected to the other land. It is not that they are completely separated from each other. This portion of land is connected to the other portion of land somewhere down. So we can't see that portion of land when we are watching it from above. We can only see the water surface over here. Now this level of water, this is the land, and on the same level the sea or ocean, whatever the sea we can say, sea we will consider it as sea. If we see, this is the level of the sea and this is the same level of the sand. So this level is known as the sea level. So when we talk about the depth of the Mariana Trench, see, the depth of Mariana Trench is more than that of the Mount Everest. If this is the height of Mount Everest, so Mariana Trench is 11,022 meters deep. Means if we are able to pick up this mountain, Mount Everest, so it will be completely sink inside the water because Mariana Trench is in more than this. Alright, so this is Mariana Trench at the depth of the Pacific Ocean. We can see Mariana Trench is at the depth of the Pacific Ocean. We will read about oceans, then we will talk again about this Mariana Trench. So first we will take our topics. If we say about lithosphere, so in lithosphere we will first take our topic continents. What are continents? Continents are all the land area which are present in the earth. If you have ever seen the globe, you might have seen the globe or you see the maps. So the globe mainly looks blue in color. It appears to be blue in color. Why? Other colors are also there, yellow color is there, pink color we can see on the globe, but mainly if we see the globe, it is in blue. So what does that shows? That shows that most of the part of our earth is covered with water. Blue color shows the water. So most of the part of the earth is covered with water. Even here if you can see, this all shaded part, it is all water. And in between you can see these. Now these are the continents. How many continents are there? There are 7 continents. We will study about all these continents and the specification of these. North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia and Antarctica. These are all the 7 continents. And if you can see here, right now I will not explain you more about the oceans, but I will just read it out. Pacific Ocean is here, Atlantic Ocean, Southern Ocean, Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean again here, then Arctic Ocean. So about the ocean I will explain you later, but first come to the continents. So these are our 7 continents, and if you can see that water is there everywhere. So all these continents are surrounded by the water. So here also you can see that most of our part is in blue, which is water. So the earth, that's why the earth is known as the blue planet. This is the concept why earth is known as the blue planet. Now talking about all these continents. So by the picture you can make it out which is the largest continent which you can see. If you see here, it's Asia. See the size of all other continents and see the size of Asia. So among all these 7 continents, Asia is the largest continent. It covers about 1/3 of the total land area of the earth. So 1/3 of the total land area of the earth is only covered by this continent Asia. Now the Tropic of Cancer, in our previous chapters, chapter number 2, we have read about the Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, the equator, Arctic Circle, Antarctic Circle, right? So the Tropic of Cancer passes through this continent Asia. Asia is separated by the Ural Mountains on the west. It is separated by the Ural Mountains on the west. With Eurasia. Now Eurasia, what is Eurasia? The combined land mass of Europe and Asia. See, here you can see Europe and here is Asia. So, and here in between are the Ural Mountains. Right. Now, this part of Asia and Europe, the separation of Asia and Europe, you can see very minor portion is there where Asia and Europe is separated. So, in combined we call it as Eurasia. When Asia and Europe are combined together, they are close to each other. So, the combined form of this is known as Eurasia. Now, the next continent, if we see, Europe. So, Europe is smaller than Asia, as you can see in the picture. Europe is smaller than Asia. And it lies to the west of Asia. Again, this same thing you can see in the picture. It lies in the left of Asia. An Arctic Circle passes through Europe. And it is bounded by water bodies from 3 sides. So, you can see here, basically it is bounded by water bodies from this side and this side. From 3 sides, this continent is bounded by the water bodies. On the 4th side, we have the other continent, Asia. So, on 3 sides, it is bounded by the water bodies, Europe. Now, next continent we will talk about is Africa. Africa is the second largest continent. And the equator runs. Equator is the imaginary line that separates the, this is Earth. Here we have North Pole, here we have South Pole. So, imaginary line at 0 degree, which divides the earth into 2 hemispheres, that is the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. These are the 2 hemispheres and this is the equator. So, this continent Africa lies somewhere over here. It lies over here. The equator passes through this continent Africa. The world's longest river. Which is the world's longest river? The world's longest river is Nile. The longest river flows through this continent Africa. Now see, there is a difference between largest and longest. Suppose this is a river flowing and one is this river flowing. So, if I talk about the longest river, that is river Nile, which is going to a far distance, and largest means which has more volume than this. So, don't get confused in longest and largest. The longest river is river Nile, not the largest river. Alright, we will read about the largest river also, but here we will see that the longest river, river Nile, that flows through this continent, that is Africa. The next continent we will read about is North America. See, North America and South America, by the name you can make it out that North America lies in the north and the South America lies in the south. So, North America, it is the 3rd largest continent and it is linked to South America by narrow strip of land which is known as Isthmus of Panama. You can see in this picture, this is North America. And here you can see it is connected with South America. In all other sides we can see water, and here it is connecting with South America. So this connection of land, you can see very steep connection of land, this is known as isthmus. When two land masses are connected, right, this is known as isthmus. And the other thing which we are going to read about it is strait. There is a difference between an isthmus and strait. Now what the difference is, when the land masses are connecting, that portion is known as the isthmus. And when, in the same way, if two water bodies are connecting, suppose this is one ocean and here there is some portion of land, and again this ocean is connecting with the another ocean, this is known as strait. And this, when the land masses are connecting, is known as isthmus. So the isthmus which connects North America and South America is the isthmus of Panama, right? Now, South America, it lies completely in the southern hemisphere. We have read what is northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. So South America lies in the southern hemisphere, completely in the southern hemisphere, and the longest mountain ranges are there in the South America, that is the Andes. They are the longest mountain ranges. Mountain range means the mountains which are going at a long distance. So that is Andes, which is there in South America, and it is the longest mountain range. Now coming to Australia. Australia is the smallest. It is the smallest continent among all these 7 continents. Australia is the smallest continent, and it also lies in the southern hemisphere. As you can see, Australia also lies in the southern hemisphere, and it is surrounded all sides by oceans and seas. Here you can see they were close to each other. Europe and Asia were close to each other, but here Australia, you can see it is completely surrounded by the seas and oceans. Means all around you can see water is there. So Australia is completely surrounded by oceans and seas. Therefore it is called the island continent. It is also known as island continent. Now next we have Antarctica. Antarctica lies completely in southern hemisphere. Again you can see Antarctica over here. It is again in the southern hemisphere, completely in the southern hemisphere. Now when we talk about the North Pole and the South Pole and hemispheres, so we have read in our previous chapters, when the sun rays come, when the sun rays falls on the earth, these poles do not receive heat of the sun, and therefore they remain closed. The poles remain cold throughout the year because they do not receive heat from the sun. So talking about the South Pole, this continent lies on the southern hemisphere, basically near to the South Pole. The center of the South Pole comes in this continent. So that is why this continent is very cold, and no permanent settlements of human beings are there in this continent because it is too cold over there. Ice sheets are there, so people can't settle over there permanently. So no permanent settlement are found here in the Antarctica. Only temporary settlements are there. Why these temporary settlements are there? Because these temporary settlements are because of the research centers which are there in the Antarctica. Many researches goes on. All the countries do research work. So research centers are there in Antarctica, and whenever the research team comes there to research for something, then only they settle over there, they stay there for some time, and afterwards again they will go back. Permanent settlement is not possible in Antarctica. So the research centers of India is Maitri and Dakshin Gangotri, which are there in this continent, Antarctica. So this was all about the lithosphere, which comprises of all the continents, means the land mass, all the land area, that is lithosphere. Next we will come to hydrosphere, which consists of all the oceans. Hydrosphere means containing water. So hydrosphere consists of all the oceans. Here in the same picture we can see the oceans as well. We have Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Arctic Ocean, Indian Ocean and Southern Ocean. These are the major oceans, main oceans which we can see over here. Now if you will see here in the picture, so here also I have written Pacific Ocean and here also I have written Pacific Ocean. Why is it so? See, if you will see the Earth is not a flat surface, it is spherical in shape. So if I draw the same drawing on this surface of the Earth, so if I write Pacific Ocean here and Pacific Ocean over here also, when I turn this, so it will be found that Pacific Ocean is covering the vast area. That is why when I am drawing it on a flat surface on this board, or when I will draw it on the map, so I will see that Pacific Ocean is on both the sides. But when you will see on the globe, it will be completely at one side only combined. But here, because I am drawing it on the flat surface, that's why I have written both the side Pacific Ocean, because it is the vast ocean among all. So we have all these oceans, they come under hydrosphere. More than 71% of the earth is covered with water. Now here we will discuss one important point when we talk about water. 97% of earth water is found in ocean. We say earth is a blue planet, and 97%, almost 97% of the earth we can see water over there. But still we say save water, don't waste water. Why? If our planet Earth is known as blue planet, we have so much of water, more than land. We have water more than land. As you can see here also, this is the land area and this is all the water. Water bodies are there. But still we see, save water, water is essential for us, we should not waste water. Why? The reason behind this is because, as I say, 97% water is found in ocean, and the water which we found in ocean is not suitable for drinking. Why? Because it is salty water. We can't drink it, we can't bring into our use. So 97 is a very much percentage. Out of 100, 97 is water is found in ocean, but we can't bring that water into use because it is salty. Only 2.8% is the water which we can bring into use. Now large portion of water is in the form of ice and glaciers. Now after that 97%, the other water is found in the form of, either it is in the form of ice or glacier. So again we can't bring it into use, right? Only 0.03% of water is there on earth which we can use for drinking purpose. So that is why we say to save water, because it is only visible that earth is blue because of the water, and so much of water is there, but we can't bring into use that much water. So the water which is for use is only 0.03% of water which we can use. Now what these oceans are? They are the large water bodies. Oceans are the major part of hydrosphere, and the ocean water is always moving. It is not still water, it is always moving. There are rivers, there are places where you can also find still water, and it is not that always you will come to know that the water is moving. Sometimes you don't come to know. We think that the water is still. So how we can check it? Like you can take ink, and if you split some ink on the water, if it would be still water, so color will you will be seeing all the color over there only. But if the water is moving, that color, that ink will flow with the water. So the ocean water is always moving, and the movement of the water is again in three forms. When we say the water is moving, it moves in the form of waves, tides and ocean current. In these three forms the water moves in the ocean. Waves, you can see the light waves in the ocean. Tides, when the water rises at a height and then again falls back, that is tides. And now ocean currents. What are ocean currents? Ocean currents are when the large amount of water is when the water is displaced. Suppose this is an ocean, the water is flowing here, and in between suppose some landmass is there, then again this is the another ocean. So when the large amount of water is displaced from here to here, means the water which was here, that came here in the other side, other ocean. So this is known as, this is because of the ocean currents. So the movement of the water is in the three forms: waves, tides and ocean currents. You will read about ocean currents in your further classes also. Now the major oceans, we have already discussed about the major oceans: the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Southern Ocean. Southern Ocean is also known as Antarctic Ocean, and the Arctic Ocean. Pacific Ocean, as I have shown you already, Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean among all others. It is the largest, the area which it covers is too much. So Pacific Ocean is the largest, and here I talked about the Mariana Trench here. It is found in the Pacific Ocean. The depth, it is on the depth of around 11,022 meters, Mariana Trench. So it is found in Pacific Ocean. Atlantic Ocean is the second largest ocean. It is in S shape. Atlantic Ocean, here you can see. So the shape which comes of this ocean is S shape. So this S shape ocean is the Atlantic Ocean. Indian Ocean. Indian Ocean is the only ocean which has the name of a country. If you see all other oceans, they are not in the name of a country, but Indian Ocean is the only ocean which is in the name of a country. And why is it so? Because here this is Asia, our country India is here in Asia. So if I draw the map over here, if I draw India's map over here, so only India is the country. See, other country borders are also there. Other country borders are also there, but only India is the country which has its largest part falling on this ocean. That is why this ocean is named as Indian Ocean, because among all other countries which have their boundaries over here, only Indian Ocean, only India is the country which is falling more, whose more part is seen in this ocean. That is why this ocean is known as Indian Ocean, the name of a country, India. Now Southern Ocean. Southern Ocean is below Antarctic Circle. I have told you about this. This is Earth, Equator, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, Arctic Circle, Antarctic Circle. Right. So we have already read about this in our previous chapters. Now Arctic Ocean is located within Arctic Circle and it surrounds the North Pole. Arctic Circle, it surrounds this North Pole. Okay, it is in the north. It is connected with the Pacific Ocean by a narrow stretch of shallow water known as Bering Strait. Strait also I explained you over here, when the water bodies are connected. So this Arctic Ocean is connected with the Pacific Ocean with a narrow strait which is known as Bering Strait. So this is all about our hydrosphere, which contains all the oceans. Now coming to the atmosphere. What is atmosphere? Atmosphere is the air which is present, which is surrounding us. So the air which surrounds us is known as the atmosphere. Now the air which is surrounding us contains different gases, right? All those gases are important for us to survive. So we have multiple gases in atmosphere like nitrogen, oxygen, other gases are also there. We'll read about the percentage of gases, how many and how much of percentage is present in the air. Now talking about the atmosphere, the air which is surrounded by it consists of life supporting gases. All the gases which are present are life supporting. it protects us from the harmful radiation of the sun. See, we already know that sun rays are very harmful. So if this layer of air will not be there, it will directly affect us and it will harm us. So to protect us from that harmful radiation of the sun, these gases are important for us to be there in the atmosphere. It also provides us with the air we breathe. We have oxygen present in the air which help us to breathe. Now, atmosphere again has the multiple layers. In atmosphere we have multiple layers, like starting from the bottom, from the land area, troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. These are the different layers of the atmosphere, right. Now these compose of mainly of the air composes of mainly nitrogen and oxygen. So nitrogen and oxygen are the main gases present in the air. 78% is nitrogen and 28% is oxygen. 78% nitrogen, 28% oxygen. So in total it make 99%. Now 1% is remaining. Now this 1% is all other gases like carbon dioxide, helium, hydrogen, argon, all the other gases. Only 1% of other gases are present in the air, otherwise 78% is nitrogen and 28% is oxygen. Only 1% is there which is all other gases, carbon dioxide, argon, helium, all these gases are the only 1%. Now the density of atmosphere varies with height. As the air which is there down, that will be more heavier than the air which will be above at a height. So the density of atmosphere varies with height. Air moves from high pressure to low pressure. This is again an important thing to understand. The high pressure and low pressure. See, because we have air and so many gases are there in the air, so air becomes heavy. When something is heavy, it falls down. If we take example of sand also, if we place sand on a glass of water, that sand will come down because it is heavy in weight. So same thing happened with the gases also, because the air has so many gases, so all the gases are heavy, so they are here down. All the gases are here down. Now because of the sun, when the heat affects these gases, they start evaporating. After evaporating, they again go to the other land. When they evaporate, they become light. Right? They become light. Right now they are heavier. When they will evaporate, they will become light. So it will go here. See, because of this evaporation, the pressure is there on the air and then it is going to the other side, and from the other side, when it will become lighter and again come here, then from here again it will go this side. So that's why it is called that air moves from a higher pressure to a lower pressure. Moving from higher pressure, it came here and again to a lower pressure. Now when this air evaporate, this become empty because all the air evaporated, so this side become empty. So now nothing is there. So this air, when after evaporation again this air is coming down, so it is coming from higher pressure to a lower pressure where nothing was there. So air always moves from higher pressure to a lower pressure. Now coming to our last sphere, last domain, that is the biosphere, the domain of life. So I told you here also that all these three spheres when combined together, meet together, they form this biosphere where life exists, because life can't exist only in one sphere. For the existence of life, we need all three spheres of life, only then life is possible. So biosphere is a narrow zone of contact between the land, water and air, and life exists in biosphere. Now, in the biosphere, different species are there. If I see microbes are also there, bacteria are also there, we human beings, all the mammals, animals, plants, everything is there in the biosphere. All living organisms are linked to each other, right? Right, as I told you that all these three spheres are important for biosphere. So everything is connected in the biosphere. Land is connected with air, air is connected with water, water is again connected with land, and all these things are connected with us. In the biosphere we say that we have living beings as well, microbes, bacteria, everything is there in the biosphere. So all these things are connected to each other, and they are broadly divided into two kingdoms, that is plant kingdom and animal kingdom. The three domains of earth interact with each other and affect each other in some way or the other. It is not that if something will happen here in the lithosphere, so it will not affect our life. If something will happen in the hydrosphere, it will not affect our life. If something happens in the atmosphere, so it will not affect our life. No, it is not possible, because we say in biosphere everything is connected to each other. So if any natural calamity happen on the land, suppose earthquake comes, it will affect every one of us. In water, high tides come, tsunami comes, again it will affect all of us. And in atmosphere, cyclones come, again it will affect all of us. So we all are connected to each other in this biosphere, talking even about the plants and the animals. Like if we take example, cutting of forest area, cutting the trees, that is the natural vegetation which we have, and we all are cutting it for our personal use. Although we are cutting it for our personal use to make paper, to make furniture, we are cutting those trees, but again it is harming us only, because we are connected to that part also of the environment. We are connected to that. If there will be no trees, then again we will be in a problem. We will have problem in breathing. So this is what it is in the biosphere, that everything is connected to each other. Each and everything is important for each other's survival. We can't imagine of a world where animals are not there. It's easy to think, so what if animals will not be there, only we human beings will live? No, it is not possible. If animals will not be there, it will be difficult for us to live, because somewhere or the other those animals are also making that environment for us, for our human beings to live in. Again, if those animals will think that it will be better if only we survive on this planet Earth, no human being will be there, again it will be a problem for those animals, right? So we all are connected with each other in this biosphere, all the plant kingdom, animal kingdom, and we all are connected to these three spheres, lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere. With this we finish up with our chapter. Thank you.